I really need to start paying more attention. That is why I really wanted to practice mindfulness and being in the moment. Working constantly and having your mind running several scenarios at once while doing whatever task is in front of you is how I operated. I can compartmentalize like you wouldn't believe. I can be reading something while having an entirely separate thought process going on in my head at the same time. I am hoping that once we get into feeding Clara twice a day and hopefully make a dough, the process of getting up to stretch and fold the dough is hopefully going to help with my occupational therapy. My primary found a program that does OT, PT, and behavioral health. It is a chronic pain health clinic. It is a 3-month program, but I was only able to go for about half of it when Aiden's infection showed up again last year. When I told her I only did partial, but that they'll let me finish it later, she said, "What happened to your family?" And then immediately realized what she said and profusely apologized. Even she knew my patterns. I struggled with OT because they asked me what my goals were. I didn't know. I live entirely in my room on my bed, so leaving my room is kind of the goal. So who knows, maybe I'll get really good at sourdough and my only goal for OT will be recognized. I remember struggling with this in therapy, the question of who am I? After I stopped working, I really lost all sense of self and who I was. I knew that my old way of doing things was extremely unhealthy, and I never wanted to go back to running myself into the ground, but I had no idea what to do. The best way I can describe it and how it feels is this. I was standing in a dark space under a dome of my own ego, behind a mask that said I have it all under control, patching up the cracks that formed until one day I couldn't. And when the last crack formed and everything shattered, I was suddenly standing in blindingly white space, standing in the threshold of the rest of my life. I feel like the white space is filled with all of the pieces of me, but right now it's too bright and I can't see it. Originally, I thought that to move forward, I had to work through the past trauma, but I realized that my mom's words healed that part of me when she said, I have all these things, but I don't have my family with me. Then I thought, okay, I have to work through the trauma of the last 5 years. Like, that's the threshold that I have to cross. But I don't really feel like that's it either. Then I had to remind myself that it isn't a race and that these things take time. 30 years of brokenness doesn't change overnight. So I'm going to stop trying to figure it out and just take it one day at a time. I need to identify all the unhealthy ways I used to operate and then find alternatives to them. I need to figure out boundaries and how to hold them. That is part of the reason that I'm waiting to go back to church. I know that they'll never ask me to do anything that I shouldn't, but I also know that old habits die hard, and I will want to be involved with projects. I have researched and compiled so many policies, projects, events, and ministries that it would be really hard for me to step back. Again, not because I think my way is the best way, but because I really enjoyed it. But I never knew when to say no, and I never knew when to say enough. I would get mad when others would go home to see their family because I never felt like I could. Not because I was told that I couldn't, because I just couldn't leave something unfinished. Then I'd get mad because others went home and I was still there, not seeing my family. Now I look back and I think how insane that is. I had every opportunity to leave, but I couldn't for whatever reason. And honestly, it doesn't really matter. That is a pattern that I do not want to fall back into. Right now, I don't feel strong enough to hold boundaries. So I'm going to continue for now to keep it small and honor that fragility. I think each day this project will be like my journal, keeping things in the present. Eventually, my eyes will adjust to the light, and I can start to bring who I want to be into focus.